issue was actually,
Okay, we'll go ahead and get started. The next section we're going to move to that I've jumped to is the section before you, racial profiling from a behavior perspective. At the end of this section, we're going to see a interactive video called The Wheel. You make the call. So here, what we want to share is that our perspective, our life experiences, our values have an impact on how we do our jobs, how you work in the community. And that's on both sides. Same thing as not only law enforcement working in the community, but also how communities work with law enforcement. Here you see that the personal values and the work environment, whether it's internal or external, has an impact. This simply says that your department has its values. And I'm pretty sure that the chief has discussed with you in regards to how he sees the Fayetteville Police Department, the values, and what this department stands for. The assumption and possibility that you as officers had an opportunity to get input in shaping those values through your policies, procedures, the way you decide you're going to work in the communities, how you address crime, particularly domestic type crimes, calls and things like that. When we talk about values and personal values, we also discuss biases and prejudice. And these make up what we call one's paradigm. Paradigms are those things, how you see things from your own lenses based on your life experiences. And we bring that to work with us every day, whether you're law enforcement or whether you're a non-law enforcement person. And for community, it's the same thing. Their values, their paradigm, how they see law enforcement from their own personal experiences and biases. Right? And that may not necessarily be true, because sometimes it's based on hearsay, not on fact that someone talked about earlier, or on their own life experiences. Somebody may told them what happened to them, so they developed their biases based on that. As you look at this picture, you have two groups of people. One group is labeled as suspects and the other non-suspects. Would you label them that way? What do you see in the side that say suspect, and what do you see in the side that say non-suspect? Why this group will be known as non-suspect versus the other? Yeah. What's that?
They all done something.
They all may have done something. That's true. But can you, by just looking at an individual, can determine whether or not this particular, a certain person, a group of people, could be a possible suspect? What about this gentleman here? If you would have drove up in your vehicle and saw a group of people standing and saw this gentleman that like to reach for something, what would you say? This gentleman here, this gentleman with the long coat. Would you think Is that reasonable suspicion? Depends on the circumstances, right. Depends on the situation, depends on the circumstances, and depends on what you probably receive from dispatch. All right? What about these people over here? Some have suicides, some don't. Does it mean that they are non-suspects? No, right? Just because we're suits don't mean necessarily that those people are basically eliminated being suspects for any type of crime. But it all depends on if a call was made, it's what the description, the basic description that's given to by the dispatch. Right? Or if you're driving and you see something suspicious, are there anything suspicious that you may want to question with any of these people here? It could be, yeah. Well, you never know. You never know. But based on your experiences in certain situations, you may feel, hey, maybe I need to, something may be suspicious, I may need to talk with one. I question one or two of those people. A community person may say, hey, it's not problem me standing with my hands in my pocket. Right? But if you're on the call, you don't know what that person may have. May have a hand pocket, you don't know what he may have. Or she may have, well, in this case, he may have in his pocket. And you're on the call. All right? We pretty much describe what prejudice. And prejudice is basically that one has some type of overt biases against a prejudgment about someone for some reason or based on what their experiences with a certain group or people in a certain community, based on your work experiences that you may have developed. Right? The one indicator is a prejudice action is assuming your way is the only way. In other words, that you are prejudiced about how you feel about someone, or you could be prejudiced about how you feel about someone, because this is based on your experiences, always has been this way when you basically came in contact with certain individuals, groups, and so on. We like to say there are both good and bad biases. And the good biases are those who listed there, are those particularly many of you as officers have in regards to the sixth sense. When you just feel, hey, something may be wrong here, something may be something suspicious, and you may want to take a close look at that. All right? What's this individual or these group of individuals that are standing around or in a particular area at a particular time of night, in the day, and there's something wrong, something that you may want to check out further. Now, one's body language can also determine. And also when questioned whether or not the tone is you picture, is this person really telling the truth or not? Sometimes. So there's some good biases that could be, that you may use in order to do your job. And parents would do the same thing when they talk to their children. They develop certain biases that are good biases and go out to the ask and question their children or family members. And based on how the person answered, the tone, whether they feel that it could raise some suspicion there. Bad biases are simply those that have no foundation to it. No foundation at all. And you act on those foundations. You're not just, but you act on them. and that's also the community. If the community members say that an officer did something and he or she don't have any evidence, any proof, it's just that I just don't like this officer, don't have any foundation at all, and what happens, that individual, based on what he or she has experienced, he or she has heard, based on what someone else had told her, him, they develop a foundation, a basket, no foundation, and take it out on law enforcement or a law enforcement officer. Reshaping your paradigm depends pretty much on you as an individual. Trying to be a lot more objective. Trying to learn about different cultures, different communities. Learn about what the community interest is. Learn about how to communicate with community members to try to help them, as opposed to, what some people say, is try to work against us. You believe that there's many community members like to work with you. You heard some community members say today that they believe law enforcement do a good job, and they will pretty much they will continue to work with law enforcement. There's a few out there that have their own idea, and they try to spread that idea, that perception to others in the community without any foundation behind it at all.